Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. West with our leading our weekly assembly for Templemore High School, Friday the 24th of April, of course, except that it's not really. It's actually Thursday evening. We've just had the NHS clapping outside, and I've decided to come and do the recording this evening, a little bit like Graham Norton does on a Friday night, because his show is recorded on a Thursday, I think, as well. And the reason it's done on a Thursday rather than a Friday it's simply because I've got my two boys to look after tomorrow, and as my wife is a teacher, she has to go into work tomorrow, so I have got my two little boys, and I won't be able to record it because I won't have enough time. The disappointing bit about that for you guys is because normally on a Friday, lots of information come out from the DfE, and we know the DfE are the Department for Education now, and information comes out from government and usual head teacher unions by the end of the week, so I can share that with you. So unfortunately, if something comes out either later tonight or tomorrow morning, I won't be able to get that to you until next week, but I'll do my best. There'll be two assemblies this week as normal, or has become normal, shall I say. The first one will obviously be on all matters Templemore, and the second one will be answer to the quiz from last week and the quiz for this coming week. So if you don't want to take part in that, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to look at the second video. If you do, thank you very much. Please join me for that. The first point we're going to get onto in terms of the school is an apology really to parents and students. Since our return from the Easter break, if you like, obviously that was on Monday, we've had a number of staff contact parents and students about work, levels of engagement, work set, other matters, whether work has been handed in or uploaded onto class charts, etc. Can you please forgive me for causing any unnecessary stress or worry for any of you at home? I'm grateful for those parents that got in touch with the school with their concerns about there being too much work or it putting too much pressure on you at home, because I understand you've got lots of things to contend with there. As I say, I'm very sorry about this. Please understand the motives for doing this. The motives are, and kind of the intentions are, the best intentions entirely on the school's part. But it's very difficult to get that sentiment and sense across to you at home because obviously we can't speak to you directly. And, having it done through an app or via text is very clinical, loses the sense of that social interaction, and you lose the central message of what we're trying to do and why we're trying to do it. So I'm just going to address that now. There's always a problem when you go through digital means and you can't speak to people directly because that flow of communication from the person delivering the message, the person receiving, is lost in translation, if you like. So what we're trying to do is we're simply trying to ascertain where students are in terms of their learning to help us pitch and change our curriculum accordingly for when the school reopens. So it's done with the best intentions, as I say, and I promise you that we will try and limit that this week. So we're speaking to staff tomorrow, which is obviously Friday, when you will actually see this video. We're going to pull back on that a little bit. We don't want to place any unnecessary pressure on young people at home or families dealing with all the issues that go along with COVID or coronavirus, however you take it. And we understand, and if I speak personally, I fully understand the pressures of being at home during lockdown. We're all trying to wrestle with it. We're all trying to struggle with it, including myself. So, as I say, we're doing it with the best intentions. Staff should back off from that. But please, if you feel concerned or you've got some feedback for us, please get in touch with the school, and we'll do our best to listen to that and make changes accordingly. Okay. Just some reassurance really as well on the back of that. Everything we're doing in the background around the school is just to make sure that we can return to the school well, and then we can recover as a school well. And the last thing I need to do is put unrelenting pressure on anybody about work in terms of trying to catch up or trying to close any gaps in terms of where you are compared to anybody else in the country. That's not what we're about. What we want to be about is a school that serves our community and make sure that we can manage the situation the best we can and get back to things being as normal as they can, as quickly as they can, but as safely as they can, really, because there clearly will be some changes to the school as we move towards reopening, which I'll talk about a little bit more in detail as we go through the assembly. But what we've got to try and do is try and get the balance right around the work that we do at home and us contacting you and asking you about that work. And we've also got to get the pace right, not just in terms of the work at home now, but obviously when you come back to school, but making sure that we don't overwhelm people, because the last thing we need is for people to feel that they are swamped or can't cope. So I'm grateful for your patience and your support so far. Obviously, I'll call on that again in the lead up towards us reopening as a school. Please bear with us. We'll monitor this over the next week. And as I say, we will talk to staff about expectations in terms of contacting families going forward. So thank you for that. The next point I'll make is around year 11 and 13s. You'll have read an awful lot in the press and the media this week around this ongoing consultation I mentioned last week about grading. And in particular, you'll have noticed the points around whether you can actually sit the examination if you disagree with your grade. Just to be clear, the school will obviously issue a grade, an estimated grade, based on the work that you've done up to now and what we think is likely for your outcome if things have gone well during the last kind of section of your learning at the school. That grade will be changed and redistributed, if you like, by the exam boards, not by the school. But you will have the opportunity, hopefully, to be able to sit that if you choose to do so. But there's some confusion on whether you can actually do that in the autumn or if that's going to actually be next summer, which would be summer 21. Now, I share your frustrations on this one, undoubtedly, that seems almost ridiculous. And equally, I think it's ridiculous that you would have to sit an examination or prepare for an examination during the autumn term whilst you were starting new studies. So how that plays out, I'm not sure. We are monitoring the situation and I'll obviously inform you as soon as I know anything different. But that's where we are at the minute. I'm sorry that you've got that kind of anxiety at home around what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. But we're just going to have to wait and see, I'm afraid. Year 10 and 12s. So year 10 and 12, just a message to you guys really, that we are in the background contacting subject leaders now, and we are rewriting our curriculum or our lessons and our schemes of work to make sure that when you come back, things can be improved as best they can, and you will not be at a disadvantage when you go into the next phase. You'll be learning to year 11 and obviously into year 13. So we are working on that, and there'll be more details to come through. Obviously, we tried to get in touch with people this week. We're going to back off from that for the time being. So it may be the back end of next week or the week after. So just please bear with us on that one. Year 7 to 9. We are obviously changing our curriculum for other year groups. We're doing the same for yourselves. And there'll be details coming out probably at the end of next week about how you can get some feedback and assessment on the pieces of work that you've completed so far. And then we'll be setting you some more work to try and help you with that transition towards us coming back together as a school and how that will be managed. So just look out for that work. We'll be in touch over the next 7 to 14 days. Okay. Just going to mention something a bit different, really. I'm going to mention about Ramadan. It's Ramadan month, and some of our students will obviously, and our families, will be celebrating the festival of Ramadan. I think it's important to remember this, that it's going to be very difficult challenge for those families because part of their tradition and part of the festival is to come together in social groups and to share food when they break the fast, and that's going to be very difficult, and also to come together to pray. But I know that lots of people are trying to do it virtually, so that's a great idea. But I think it isn't just about the Muslim faith in terms of Ramadan, it's also about all of us. I think we'd all like to come together and share food and spend time together with our families and our loved ones. So I think we just need to spare a thought for our Muslim neighbours and hope that they can get the best out of that period of reflection and renewal, I guess, which is part of Ramadan. And I guess we all need that kind of period of reflection and renewal, and hopefully we can get that when we all come back to school, which I'm going to come on to shortly. Next point I'm going to mention is around the press talking about free laptops. These are predominantly going to be for year 10s, as I understand it. As you probably gathered, the website that you make the applications has crashed, so it's very difficult to get hold of these laptops. So we're doing our best to work on that. The trust obviously we are part of a trust of schools. We've got some collective bargaining there, some collective buying power, if you like. So we do some work in the background to try and get hold of those laptops so students can get those quickly and we can get on with some work at home. Free school meals continues to be a bit of a problem, but we've contacted parents and we're making sure we're getting those vouchers. Again, if there's any problems at home, please get in touch with us and we'll make sure that you've got some food for your families. I'm going to talk a little bit now about the big thing, which is about reopening the school. Okay, now you'll have read, just like I have, I think it's either today or early last night, that I think the quote is that heads, which includes me, heads have said they want to open schools from the 1st of June. Okay, just so I'm absolutely clear with you, because I'm trying to be transparent in all of these assemblies for students and for parents. I have not said I want to open the 1st of June, and I've not been asked that question either. So somebody else is saying that on my behalf. But I think the problem for us all now is that because that date's out in the public domain, we're all going to start clambering after, it's going to be the 1st of June, this is what we're going to do. So, there's going to be pressure put on all of us from all sides that we kind of work towards that date. Now, I'm saying this not because I'm trying to cause panic and we've definitively got a date and Mr. West has said this and, he said I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about what's going on in the media and I'm trying to be transparent, which is if that was to happen, we will put plans in place to make sure that when students came back, as I mentioned to you last week, were looked after, cared for in a corona world. Now, why am I saying that? Well, it's pretty obvious that the situation isn't going to go away quickly. So any kind of thinking or mindset that we had, and when I say we, I mean anyone connected to the school, parents, governors, students or staff, we're not just going to come back, open the door, walk in and it all go back to normal. That is not going to happen. What's going to probably happen, and I don't want to be all over the coals for this, and in 3 months' time turn around and say, Mr. West, you said this, and it's definitely going to happen. We're all making things up as we go along now, and we're all making mistakes, including me, but we're all trying to do things with the best intentions, as I mentioned earlier. What will happen is that it's likely that we're going to come back in a kind of a broken week or a broken day. So it might well be that you have a half day for some year groups and then a half day for other year groups. Or it might be that you have half or a partial week or a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think I've mentioned that before. It's highly likely that you're not going to have 30 students in a classroom with a teacher because that wouldn't be practicing social distancing. So, you may well get classrooms that have got 10 or 15 students in. Now, please understand that this is going to be a logistical nightmare for us as senior leaders in the school to try and organise, but we will do it. And obviously we've started that process already. So when we come back to the school, be under no illusion that things are going to be very, very different, okay? And I think it's really important that we start thinking and getting our kind of frame of mind revised and updated to be ready for that change when it comes, okay? So I know a lot about the students, the staff, and the parents of this great school, and I know that you're resilient people. I know this because when I reflect about the things that we've done in the last few years, the changes that I brought in when I first came to the school, some of you weren't very happy about some of those things, some of you were quite angry about those things, but everything's turned out for the best. We've got fantastic students who are well behaved, well mannered. Everybody that comes to the school and visits the school says that they're so impressed with their attitudes. We've got fantastic outcomes and results for students that have left, and that's in successive years. So we know we've got a great school, okay? So all the things we've done, I've got it that way, and we're going to do the same again in this new world, okay? So I know you can do it because we've done it already. It's a slightly different one, we've got to be used to things being thrown at us that are very different, and this is very different, but I know we can do it. So before I sign off to go to do the quiz video, I'll simply say this: stay safe in the next few days and stay strong in both mind and body. Okay, I'll see you again next week, and I send my very best wishes to you and all your family. Thanks a lot. See you soon. Bye.